That is the most soothing countdown music of all time.
That was so satisfying. I was
I'm
like,
ready. I just want to chill out and have a nap now.
you want to restart it?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Welcome to Obstacle Racing Media's preview show for Hyrox World Championships in LA. I'm Dave Claxton, Jack Bauer with me over there. You'll notice immediately there is no Matt, and you're welcome. I mean, we did what we could, and we got rid of him. He's off doing Matt stuff. But somehow I think Jack and I can hold down the fort.
I agree, Dave.
So why don't we start right off, Jack, and I will list these out. And obviously, like you say, Hyrox World Championship coming up this weekend in Las Vegas. Top 15 men, top 15 women for the pro division. I'm going to list them off here. That way everybody's got it. And I will do everything I can not to butcher these names. So 15th, Rich Ryan. 14, Michael Sandbach. 13, Martin Miselius. 12, Cole Schwartz. 11th, Dieter Schwarzkopf. 10, Tom Hogan. 9, Dylan Scott. 8, Holger Corner. 7, Thomas Verdick. 6, Geoffrey Vozine. 5, Dominic Molzan. Number 4, Alexander Ronkovic. Number 3, Tim Weinsnick. 2, Ryan Kent. And number 1, Hunter McIntyre. That's our men. For our women, we have in 15, Camilla Massa. 14, Brid Stepper. 13, Beatrice Erdalt. 12th, Chris Roloski. 11, Sabrina Rothig. 10, Alyssa Hawley. 9, Alundra Greenley. Dr. Alandra Greenley. 8, Rachel Vondrak. 7, Tara Jackson. 6, Sarah Colty. 5, Linda Muir. 4, Rebecca Nather. 3, Lauren Weeks. 2, Viola Oberlander. And number 1, Miriam Von Rohr. All right, That's all we got to do. We're done, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to finish exactly in that order because we've discussed this in the past. There are no differences where you race for Hyrox. Every single course is identical. There's no discrepancies. We're good.
I think that I can safely say in the history of Hyrox, there has never been an upset.
Yeah, there has.
Awesome.
Perhaps last year. Yeah.
Perhaps last year there may have been some things that were not planned or not as anticipated. I can't tell you how much money I would lose if we could bet on this game. I would have lost so many times.
I think people, if there was like a top 3 bet for Hunter last year, you would have had 99.9%. You would have been out of your mind to bet outside of that. But hey, that's why you race. Upsets happen.
Yeah, I think the only time I really would have had a good bet was Rachel Vondrak's first one at the Invitational, and I picked her for second, and that would have been the only time. Other than that, I swear, this is why I don't bet. So why don't we go through just some names? Let's start with the men. And Jack, why don't you pick who you believe your top 5 men are going to be, and we'll start with 5 and work our way down.
I say we do it like the Matt and Nicole show that we do for who's on top. We each do 5 and then 4. That way, we can't base each other's list off each other, and we can have a little bit of a debate live.
Well, that's true because I don't want you cheating off my list.
I was planning on doing that. I was kind of mad you made me go first.
That's all right.
But yeah, the crazy thing about the men's division, you've got Rich Ryan in 60-35 in 15th place. Mm-hmm. And you've got in 6th place 59-46. So you're literally separated by 49 seconds, 10 people. So everyone's seed time is just ridiculously close. I know we've discussed this in the past that transition zones and the sleds and everything make a huge deal. So what I ended up doing, I looked at all the numbers. I'll share my screen real quick, but I think the best way to gauge like the true relative performance of someone is you need to take a look at how they did with and without the sleds and without the transition times. So if we're looking at this year, like the true results, if you're looking at overall time right here, you've got there's the 1 through 15. But if you take out transition times, because that's pretty variable, you see Rich Ryan 7th place from 15. So I think he could be someone who's a little bit underrated. You see Hunter, Ryan, and Tim, they're identical places, Alex in 4th as well. But a couple of these times, like Dylan Scott, he's 9th, but he had a quick transition that race. So realistically, he falls to about 14th or so. So he might be a little above his head. He typically struggles on some of the sleds as well. And I think that's going to be a major factor in this race. So in my opinion, the true metric that you need to look for is your total time minus the transitions. And the crazy thing is, you look at the real time. Hunter ran a 55:09. Ryan Kent ran a 57:45. You're like, oh man, Hunter's like 2.5 minutes ahead. It's not even comparable. In reality, it's only a 29-second gap that the two of them really had. And if Ryan didn't have, a couple more minutes of transitions right there, he might have been able to shave off 10 more seconds by pushing himself a little more in a shorter duration. So in reality, I think the race at the top is a lot closer than people realize. That being said, do you want to, I'll point out a couple other things across the board. So if you just want to look at everyone's that like how they rank in each zone. So if you look at
hey Jack, I gotta cut you off here because you have way too much knowledge in your brain, and those are really tiny numbers that will probably frighten people. So
gotcha.
Why don't we focus it a little bit more in, right?
Yep.
Pick your top 5. We can get into some of this super duper tight data sort of later, but let's keep it a little bit in because you understand it's really small on people's screens to begin with.
Yeah. And then I got you. I've got it pulled up only on my laptop, not
So let's stick with picks, and then we can dig into some deeper data.
Yeah. 5th place, I'm gonna go with whatchamacallit, Alex Rončević from Austria. He's basically right at the top. He doesn't have any real deficiencies. Pretty solid runner, pretty solid at most of the workout zones, and he's got a lot of experience in this. So Alex is my pick for 5th.
He's one of the few Europeans as well that have been over here, that have been to North America and raced. So he knows. That's why I say I think it's a good pick because he's got that experience, right? He's been across, he's seen it, he knows what it's going to feel, the jet lag and the travel and all that stuff. So it's solid, and we know he's solid all around, right? He's a guy that's gone sub 60. He's super strong. He's got the cardio. So it's not a bad pick, and it's totally not the one I'm making. I mean,
all good. Who are you going with?
I'm actually going with Rich Ryan. And I'll tell you why. Because I think Rich has more to prove in this race than anybody else. I think Rich totally believes, and rightfully so, that he is a top contender. And that I think in any other system, if the system was a different way, I think Rich Ryan would have been in there earlier and more comfortably. So Rich, like I said, I think he's going to go with everything he's got. And as long as he doesn't overcook it at the beginning, I think he can definitely take that top 5. And he's a tremendous athlete. Like there's no bad pick here, but that's why I call Rich Ryan for 5th. It's a lock.
Wow. I'm shocked that you think Rich is going to get 5th. That's
I do.
A lot of people seeing him 15th would be surprised at that. I actually have Rich in 4th. So
there you go.
I'm all in on Rich as well. If you take out those transition times and his running, he's raced in the US several times, and he's just kind of been a monster in general at a lot of hybrid fitness. He's super focused, and I know he's been training with Ryan Kent, not a bad training partner to have. I could see Rich actually doing better in the 5th, so I'm going with him in 4th.
The thing is, he's one of the few North Americans who has wholeheartedly committed to the hybrid racing, right? Like he's dove in, and like someone will talk about later. But that's again why I think he'll do well, because he is so focused on this. And I think the people who focus most will be the ones who, in the long run, end up better off. So yeah, I can't argue with it at 4th. It's a great one. I'm going to go with actually Tim Weinik. Weinik? Come on, Jack, help me out. Weinik? How do we say this?
Wenish. I don't know the exact.
This is your thing, man.
I'm got most of the
butcher
other
them.
ones,
You're
but
supposed to do them right.
Yeah, German. I don't think it's wine because it's WEN, not WEIN.
All right. I'm going to go with Tim. Tim has obviously set some great times and has really announced himself on the scene. He's a younger guy. My only concern with Tim is he's not the biggest guy. And we all know that North American sleds tend to be much more difficult than the European sleds. So my concern is that could end up blowing up on me if Tim hits those sleds and falls to pieces. So I think here's my thing. If Tim is in contention after the sleds, I think he brings it home with a really good spot. That's why I'm picking him for 4th. But this is a bit of I'm calling it a bit of a wild card pick, because I think he could crash and burn on that number 4 spot if he gets totaled on those sleds.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's valid. I mean, he's definitely he has the fastest sled push split out of every single person in the field, and we
It's
probably know
over
why that's
there.
the
Where
case.
was it? Where was his sled push?
Let me.
Was it Manster?
Top my. Okay, he had a 126 in Leipzig last year.
That's not even real.
Yeah, there's something up there, but his other sled pushes, he's been 214, 231, 246. Like he's there.
But that's what I'm saying. But these are European sleds, and as we know, like anything under 3 minutes for a North American sled is massive.
Oh yeah.
And
oh no, I
agree.
agree.
I don't think he's going to be able to pull that off over here, right? I just, if he does, then it might make me look good for him coming in fourth. But I think that'll be his issue.
Yep. No, I get what you're saying. Like I said, I ranked everyone 1 through 15 in all the individual events. Tim only has 2 events where he's outside of the top 6, and almost every single one of them, he's actually in the top 5. If you include running, workouts, I don't care if it's rowing, burpee, broad jumps and stuff. He's just a complete athlete across the board. I'm going him in third.
Oh, third. We're doing really well here, Jack. You just keep picking them.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you've been watching them all year. The numbers aren't really are kind of indicating the same stuff. So I don't know. It seems like we're one pick off of each other, but I don't think you have bad picks at all.
So when you think, do you think Tim has any other holes but that? You just say, because I mean, we saw him push for the record, but mind you, before it got broke 3 times in a row. But
yeah,
we saw him push the record. He was legit there. But then we also saw him crash and burn.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's one of those things. I'm just, if you look at the numbers, he's been super consistent across the board. His seed time, he went 57. That just doesn't really happen that fast, but he's also broken an hour between 59:01 and 59:38 3 times. So he's Mr. Consistent there. Third seed, and he's super consistent across the board. That I don't know. I've got him in third.
All right. So my third, I know you're going to disagree with. This is where we're going to go. We're going wrong here.
Yep.
I'm picking Dylan Scott.
I know. Okay.
I know you're blown away by this. Okay, so Dylan. Again,
I like Dylan. I think that's a little bit of a reach.
It is a bit of a reach, and I am expecting him to have a big day. The reason I'm picking Dylan, again, super hyper focused on this event. This is Dylan's world. This is all he's doing, right? There's no other races. There's no distractions. He's zoned in. The other thing is, we all know Dylan's a machine with his workouts, right? His volume is beyond anybody, but he always has a workout. He does the same workout before every race, and he's done that one again faster than he ever has. He's consistently improving, and I just think that Dylan is going to have a great day. He's going to come in, and if Rich Ryan can come fourth, we already know that Dylan can beat Rich Ryan, and that means Dylan can come third.
I'm not doubting that he has the capability of it. I just don't see it happening this race. I could definitely see him closer to 6 than 10, but that's a little bit of a reach in my opinion. No disrespect to Dylan.
Well, see, so when Dylan comes in, he'll remember that I was there backing him and you slagged him. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be.
No, I get it.
And here, I'm going to say this right now, Jack. Which one of us is wearing a Hyrox winter shirt? It's me. So,
That's true. All I have is a rinky-dink little third place 30 to 34 plaque from when I did in Chicago. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. The main reason, so Dylan's ranked, if you look at everyone's splits, he's 13th in the farmer's carry out of 15. He's 9th in the lunges, 11th in the wall balls, 6th in the row, 13th in the push and pull for the sled, 8th in ski. He doesn't have that outstanding metric where it's like, oh, I can overlook this one thing. He's really got beat up on the sleds a little bit. Without question, amazing engine, but he's been he's been like 104 high for most of his average. And you're seeing these other guys, all things equal, a couple minutes faster. So I just think that it's a little bit of a reach to pick him in third.
He's not that fast and he's not that strong, but yet he keeps doing better.
Yep.
Now he's got it all the way. No problem.
Okay. Yeah. So here's the really tricky one.
Oh yeah. Okay.
First place or second place. Who? I guess I've got to reveal mine. Before I reveal it, who do you think I'm going with?
Oh well, you are the numbers guy. I would think. I mean, I would assume you would go Kent, but having the fact that you've said this, I think you're going to go Hunter for second.
Second place?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kent is going to have the upset and beat Hunter by about 30 seconds.
Okay, you have to explain why you believe this for sure.
Yeah. So Hunter, we've known he's dabbled in a bunch of different things, marathon training, jumping in slow. I know that Ryan Kent was there with him. If you look this year, though, Kent just has that confidence. He's beat Hunter head to head in Chicago. He beat him in slow. Like it's just that monkey off his back. I've done some of the training sessions with Ryan. I've gone up to Castle Rock a couple times, and he's just a monster. I know Hunter is just as well, but I think Ryan texted me the other day. He's like, I've been waiting 8 years to win a world title in something. And
hang on. That got me out. I was in the basement. I was improving on some techniques I have physically. I was getting my body ready. And I just heard Jack went on a run with someone. Jack did a workout with someone. That stopped, change everything. Hold up.
It's like the bat symbol just went off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Matt, wait till the episode with Nicole. Wait till you hear who I went on a run with yesterday. So
who did you work out with?
Dave, it's one of your fellow countrymen, Sean Stevens Whale.
Sean Stevens
Whale. Oh, okay. I thought you meant me. I was like Davis. I thought it was like a Jew.
Oh no,
Israeli.
Dave,
what are you talking about?
Mr. Claxton. There we go.
That means it was a good mountain run.
Oh, that means he's going to do great because everybody who does a run with me a race the week before a big race seems to do well.
Right before OCRWC, can I go on a run with you just to help?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be up there.
All right, as you were.
Yeah. Anyway, let's. I know that Matt's ears were ringing after that. But no, I texted me and we've talked quite a bit. And like I said, he's been waiting 8 years to get this world championship. He's finally found that balance of work plus efficiency and in his training and stuff. And I don't know, it just seems like destiny that this year is the time that he's going to win it. I know Hunter's hinted that he might retire shortly after this, but I'm sure he wouldn't want to go out not on top, and he probably has a sour taste in his mouth after last year, but he is beatable at a Hyrox World Championship race. We saw it last year, missed the top four, or he ended up getting fourth, missed the podium completely, which was arguably the shock of the year. But in my opinion, Kent's going to pull it off.
You know what? I'm going to say, like, 2 months ago, I would have totally agreed with you. I would have been completely like, yeah, Kent is, and again, we've pointed this out before, he's dialed in, he's focused, this is his thing, right? I mean, he's obviously, there's babies and families and stuff like that, but he's not distracted by other events. He's not distracted by other goals. This is his goal. So I would have been right on board, but then I obviously found out that because I thought Hunter was drifting. I thought his focus was waning and, too much was going on. And then he went in and just threw down that 55.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe not. He is still focused and he's been quiet. Like he hasn't, I'm not hearing as much.
Mode.
That's right. Generally, when I hear less from him, I think he's ready. He's more ready. So while I think Kent and Hunter are actually going to have an epic battle, and I so hope that this is a last couple of wall ball finish between the two of them.
Oh yeah.
And either one you could go with, but Kent has beaten Hunter. That's huge. But then Hunter just threw down the most massive time ever and looked so solid running away doing it. So I'm gonna just go the other way, and I'm gonna go with Kent in second. And I wouldn't have made that same prediction 2 months ago.
Plus or minus 10 wall ball difference between the two of them.
You know what? I'm going to go minus 10 wall balls.
So you think it might be like 7 or, a real small number?
And it's going to come down to who can either go unbroken or minimize that break.
I'd go like 5 by 20 with 5 seconds rest or something. Try to get it like 3:45 or so. At that point in the race, they're going to probably both try to go to like 60 unbroken, but I just have a feeling that it might be a little bit of one-upsmanship and then just whoever wants it more at that point. But
it could be a 60-20-20.
Yeah. Oh God, that hurts thinking about. Yeah. Realistically,
both these guys are willing to sell out that bad at the end. They will be, and
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to beat Hunter more than Kent. and nobody wants to win more than Hunter. He's with everything. So yeah, that'll be a sellout finish. I really hope.
Yeah, if you take out the sleds, his workout time was 16:49. Kent's was 18:22. So he's a minute 22 or a minute 33 faster than Kent. When you look at burpee broad jumps, rowers, skier, whatever, wall balls, all that stuff at the end. So you might be like, oh, well, sleds, that's the difference maker. He definitely has the edge, burpee broad jumps and farmer's carry and a couple of these things. And I know that Hunter, he threw down a 29:19 for his fastest run, which was 2 seconds faster than Ryan ended up doing it. But I know I mentioned to you the equivalent where they're really only 29 seconds apart from each other. And that to me, if it was a minute apart, I'd be like, okay, it's just a pipe dream that Ryan has a chance there. But the fact that he's beat him head to head and he's been gaining in fitness this whole time, super focused, wants that first world title. I just think it's destiny for Ryan Kent.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if he pulls it off. This is the one time where if somebody beats Hunter at this, I would not call it an upset. It would just be he had a better day.
Do you think they'll break the world record?
No.
No.
Yeah. No, I think a couple of reasons. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen the layout for the course and everything like that, but so that'll obviously have a lot to do with it. But I also think that this one is going to be a lot more gamesmanship than a lot of other races. And I think in the process of that, you're less likely to see a world record because you might see some guys hold back more and kind of want it more like you would on a track day or something.
This is like the Olympics first, like a time trial. You just want that title. That's what's important.
And when Hunter set that record, he was essentially time trialing. He did not care who else was out there. There was Dylan, there was Rich, and he didn't give a crap because whatever they were going to do, He was going to do his thing. And by the time he was done the sleds, he was on his own anyway. So I don't expect that this time. I expect more of a psychological battle between the two, a very cerebral race.
We've seen in the past people who go out in like 3:05, 3:10 does not work out in their favor. I think the two of them know that's a bad idea. I could see them going out in 3:25, 3:30 for the opening run. You're probably gonna have a couple people, maybe like Dylan Scott or Rich Ryan, some of the stronger runners, maybe use that to their advantage so they can at least remain in contact heading into because the skiers, they're going to lose a little bit of time because Kent and Hunter are the two best at that. But all right, what would you do strategy wise for each of those two? Like you're Ryan Kent, what would you do? And then if you're Hunter, what would your game plan be?
Well, it's tough, right? Because we've seen what happens before when you try to run with Hunter at the beginning. I think if I was Kent, I would just go out and still try to focus and do my own race until after the sleds.
Yep.
And if I'm Hunter, I might come out swinging. And try to drop him. Try to drop him and try to see if I can get rid of him early. Because, I think the best way for Hunter to beat Kent is to make Kent believe this isn't my day.
Interesting, because I was thinking the complete opposite, but that's a valid point. Also, it's like if you're like, yeah, you don't have this fitness, and Kent's in race mode and he's doing everything he can to stay with him, and he can't. That's demoralizing. But if I were Hunter, just looking at the splits, he's the fastest on burpee broad jumps. He's the fastest on the farmer's carry. He's right up there, one of the fastest on wall balls, like all time for these. I would almost be like, well, this is gonna be a second half race. As long as I'm close, within 10, 15 seconds, getting off that the sled pull, which Ryan Kent has the fastest time ever in the field, and he did that on American soil as well. I think as long as Hunter's within a corner and he can keep him in sight running, after that he'll be able to keep enough distance and gain a few seconds on each of the zones the rest of the race. But I don't know. I would actually take it a little bit slow and try to be a little more strategic that way instead of just showing him who's boss and then potentially risking it.
Yeah, but the guy's the bulk pony, the king of machismo, man. He's got a swag.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah. No,
does he have a holdback gear?
I don't know. He really doesn't. It's a lot of like, I bet you can't hurt as much as I can. That's just a tactic that some people use, and he always delivers. So I mean, it's paid off. He'll probably end up doing that, but I don't know. I would potentially go like 2% slower than I might think I need to just to hold it for the second half.
All right. So we got Be Smart, and then we got Crush Kent emotionally. Yep. We'll see which one pays off and which one does.
You want to do a recap on the top 5 men, and then we'll move to the women?
I will. I just want to say one more question. I have one more question for you about the top 5 men. How much different do your picks look if Tobias is in this race?
That's good. I mean, he'd be at worst third. I'd probably put him third. I think that Hunter and Kent are super fit. I know that Toby broke the world record a couple times back to back, and I actually had him in second place when he ended up winning last time because just all of his metrics were saying he was there, even though he doesn't look like a big guy. But I don't know. I would put him in third safely, but I couldn't put him ahead of Hunter and Kent at the moment.
Exact same with me. It's totally how I feel about it. And it's disappointing, unfortunately, that he won't be there because that would just add to more of an epic battle. So hopefully next year.
Do you think anybody running age group, like you're going to see David Magida, you might see Chris Woolley, you might see some high level people who weren't in that top 15. Do you think any of them might have like a top 10 overall time if like you were to combine all the heats?
I mean, really, the 2 names you just dropped probably would be the ones that I would put out. Would be I mean, we know Magida can put down generally. He's going to be in that 61 area, so it really will just depend on the race. And so there's definitely possibility that you will see people in that heat beat someone in the top 15, especially if the top 15 becomes a very cerebral race. So we shall see. All right, so we'll run through the names here. I have Hunter in first, Kent in second, Dylan in third, Tim in fourth, and Rich in fifth. And then I believe you have Kent in first, Hunter in second, Tim in third, Rich in fourth, and fifth is Alex Ronkovic.
That's correct.
All right. I didn't even write that one down, and I remembered yours. That is how interested in your picks I am, Jack.
Yeah. I remembered yours just as well.
I had to write mine down, though. I almost forgot mine, but I got yours.
Yeah.
All right. So we're ahead of the women. We went through who we have. So what we're going to go with now is your number 5 pick, or do I have to go first here?
I'll let you go first this time. Just switch it up.
All right, and I'll tell you.
Should we address the elephant in the room also for the women's race?
Go for it. Yeah.
Well, Lauren Weiss is pregnant, right? So
just a little bit.
I think she's in the upper 20s or around 30 weeks. Like I mean, she's pulled off some amazing feats in the past. That I would by far be the most amazing one if she's able to podium or something in this. But I don't think we're gonna end up seeing the typical performance we have out of Lauren. But she's amazing.
And as well, Rachel Vonderak is pregnant as well. So you're dealing with 2 pregnant women in the field who are both. I spoke with Rachel just the other day. She said she's going. She said she's running. And I again, what to expect from either one of them? Very tough to say. Yeah. But it affected my picks. I know.
Yep. I would have put Lauren to win if this were normal circumstances for racing.
I'll be straight out. They would be my 1-2.
Yeah. Yep. But she is not in there at the moment. So,
and in a way, it makes it a little more interesting and a little more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I agree. Yeah.
So I guess we'll start out with I'll go first with number 5.
Yep.
And I'm going to say I didn't go all on numbers on this for sure. I went a bit on instinct and a bit on what I think. And for number 5, I went with Chris Rogowski.
Really?
I did. I think Chris, just because the doubles is after, so she won't have won that first. So she'll be fresher. I just have a feeling Chris, again, is on a steady improvement. I think that she has it. I just have a feeling she's just going to have that day. She's a competitor. She really likes to go head-to-head. And we know there's nothing she's not good at. I just have that, like I said, this is an emotional feeling pick, and I think Chris Rogowski will crack the top 5.
All right. Yeah, I mean, she always somehow manages to just kind of overperform. That comparison that I did for Rich on the men's side, where it's like I think she might be wildly underseeded. Most of her metrics, like rowing, wall balls, sandbag lunges, sled push and pull, ski erg, she's actually in like the 10 to 13 range for those. So I think that she's kind of right around where she's going to end up finishing.
She is, but I think, and I'll be straight honest, I think a lot of the European women are going to come over and struggle a bit.
Oh yeah. It happens every single time that there's an OCR race, US goes to Dubai, Europeans come to Tahoe, like OCR Worlds, the Americans suddenly weren't as good once it was in the UK. Like jet lag is a real thing. You saw with David Magida, Chris Woolley recently going to London, trying to qualify. It's the real thing. So
yeah, it is real legit. It's like elevation. It does exist.
Yep.
So Chris in fifth again. Don't let me down, Chris.
Yeah. My fifth pick is going to be a woman who just announced that she is no longer doing Spartan, Alyssa Hawley.
That was I was wavering on that one. She was my other thought.
Yeah, just across the board, she's slightly ahead. I think Chris will probably be like 7 to 10 roughly. Alyssa's stats are just a little bit better. She's not as great at burpee broad jumps, but like her second half of the race isn't superb, but she just always manages to kind of be in that 3 to 5 mix. I think she's won a Hyrox before, and realistically, I just think that she's super motivated for this style of training, kind of like Ryan Kent, where he went all in. Alyssa announced that she went all in on this style of racing earlier this year or last year, and I think it's going to pay off.
I'm actually more curious to see how good Alyssa is going to be in 2023. Like she said, if she's done with the Spartan thing, I mean, I'm sure she'll jump in a race here and there, but she's done with the focus on there. This is now her focus is the hybrid scene. I'm really curious to next year as to how, because I think she is going to improve even more, and I think she's going to be even right up there. Like she'll be a threat. I think next year she'll be a threat to podium at Worlds.
The thing that surprises me about Alyssa, if you look at her running, she ran a 35:09 for her basically 5 mile split. And for someone who ended up getting third at Tahoe in a beast, 4 or 5 years ago, I would have thought she had a little bit better running speed. That's the only thing that scares me, because she's a machine when it comes to just like her engine. I just thought she had a little bit faster turnover, at least on flat ground. But I mean, she's transformed as an athlete. And I think that if she had a little bit faster 8K splits in the past, I probably maybe would have moved her to even 3 or 4. But I think 5 is right around where she fits.
Yeah, like I said, I had Chris, her and Alyssa were going back and forth. It was a coin flip for me, and I just went with Chris. So totally good pick. Number four, I went with one of the European women who I think will not struggle with the sleds, and that's Sarah Colty.
Oh yeah,
Sarah is beastly strong. She's very experienced at these. She is a former world record holder. She knows what she's doing. She has that triathlon engine, and I think that, like I said, of the European women, I think she'll come over and she will not be phased at those sleds, and she will she'll smash it. I just think if she had a little more speed, she could hang on and maybe place even better. But considering some of the other women, I think that's where she'll slide in at number 4 with some power.
Yep. She actually has the slowest run time she was 36:43 which is 2.5, 3 minutes slower than most of the rest of the women are running in the field. So, but she's so good at the workout zones. Across the board, she's first in the ski erg, sled push, sled pull, second in burpee or in the row, and then 3 through 4 for everything else except wall balls. So when it comes to the workout zone, she's going to make up a ton of ground. I also have her in 4th place.
There you go. I mean, she just fits there, right? Like she's so steady, and I don't want to say predictable, but you do know what you're going to get from her, and it's going to be a great effort. She's killer. I mean, so we're in agreement on that. That's good. Number 3, I don't know if you'll be with me here. Tara Jackson. I think Tara has got a lot of improvement lately, and I know that's what I say. I figured it's my number 3 picks. You just can't go with me on number 3.
No, that's where we fall apart. So.
Yeah, Tara has been on fire. She's doing really well, and again, she's very committed to the hybrid scene. She's working out really hard. She's got a lot of great. She's got some good momentum coming into this. She went overseas, so she's proven that she went out and traveled and she got it done. She put in her best time. Now that would be a spot where it could fall apart. Her best time was on a very fast course. So that could be where you might see a bit of dent in the iron. But I just, again, I think she's got what it takes to come in. And again, what I said, I think the European women may falter a bit. I think Chris will not. Tara will not.
Yeah. I mean, Tara had a phenomenal performance when she ended up going to Europe, no doubt. But when you adjust for taking out transition time right there, her seed time falls from 6th to 10th. So I think that she might be a little overseeded at that point, because most of the rest of her races were several minutes slower, and this is on US soil. she doesn't really excel on the sandbag lunges, burpee broad jumps, farmers carries, and the row. Those all end up being in like the 11 to 14 out of 15 rank for her. So second half of the race, I think she's traditionally struggled a little bit compared to some of the top racers. So no disrespect, but I don't see her getting third. My third pick, I actually think, is going to be Rebecca Nather from Germany. Super steady across the board, and the race is just she's just a machine. She's super consistent, just like Tim on the men's side. Almost everything is ranked, third, fourth best in the field for each individual discipline. And if you take out her transition time, she actually has the third fastest. So that's my pick.
She's not bad, and like you said, I mean, you can't go wrong with Rebecca. She is great. She's got tons of experience. I just, like I said, it's that European bias. I just think they're going to struggle when they come over between the travel and the sleds hitting them like a hammer. I think it's going to hurt them. That said, I'm going to pick a European for my next pick. Miriam. I think she is just unbelievable, and I'll tell you right now that if she is in contention at the wall balls, whoever is around her needs to be terrified.
Wasn't she like a 308 or 310, something like that?
I'm convinced she uses a lighter wall ball to throw up and a heavier one on the way down.
Or she just slows down time.
Yeah. I don't know how in the heck she makes the ball move faster. It's just crazy. And she's in full squat. She's in full squat by the time that ball gets down. And there is no fear of bad reps on Miriam's part. She is deep on that squat.
Yep.
And she's powerful.
No weakness. And the thing that I like that when I'm looking at her running splits from when she did that in Maastricht, she was 430 to 435, 436, almost in like 5 or 6 of the laps. So she knows her pace. She went out in 356 instead of, 335, 330, around there. I think she knows how to stay in control, knowing that she's not one of the better runners. And this seems like it's going to be a lot of sled. You've seen top competitors struggle on it. And, as a super strong athlete, I think that she's going to have a phenomenal race. So yeah, she's also my number 2.
Yeah. And the thing about her, we just talk about how she has that, she races smartly, she's an intelligent racer and she's very young. So that's, that just proves for the future that she's going to get even better. Really looking forward to seeing what she can do over here. I can't get over those wall balls. I remember I was watching them and I was like, wow, it's like a clinic. It's like how it should be instructed on a video. So Miriam from number 2, and going on like that, you would think, okay, well, she can't be beat, but I am picking the European queen of Hyrox, Viola Oberlander, for number 1. And the reason I pick her over Miriam is this. They had a great race together against each other, head to head. And Viola went into the wall balls ahead and ended up with 30 no reps. And with 30 no reps to still actually be competitive and come out is great. And Viola was not at 100% going into that race. So I just think as far as a total package, I think Viola just has it together right now, and her experience will carry her through. So, I don't even think you need to explain more how good she is, how great she is. She went toe-to-toe with Lauren. Viola Oberlander, this is her year to win the world championship. And I think she will be the one that takes advantage of Lauren and Rachel probably not running their best or their fastest races.
So Viola also, as I'm sure you figured out, is going to be my number 1 pick. But she 100% needs to be ahead of Miriam by the time she gets to sandbag lunges.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if she's not, like, Miriam is 7% faster on the sandbag lunges and 9% faster on the wall. Like, she's going to make up a chunk of time. Miriam isn't as good of a runner as Viola. And I think that's the biggest difference maker, that she has that cushion where she's not necessarily going to get over her head by pushing the pace a little bit on the runs. But yeah, in my eyes, is Viola's race to lose. And I think, she's confident. She's got so much experience, and she just needs to make sure she's in the lead, probably by about 30 to 45 seconds by the time the sandbag lunges start.
I think that the scenario was being, it's interesting because with the men, I could see Hunter and Kent coming into those wall balls together and dueling it out literally mano a mano.
Mhm.
Whereas I can see Viola coming into the wall balls with like a 20 wall ball lead and Miriam coming in at that
Chipping
point,
away.
and it's still being that same intense battle because, you know, she's just gonna, like you say, she's gonna chip away and chip away and chip away. And if she comes in with like a 20 lead, it could end up Viola by like 3 wall balls or something like that. Like,
do you think Viola could end up going unbroken on it?
Viola unbroken on the wall balls?
No, sorry, Miriam, but yeah, Viola won't.
No. Yeah, I think honestly, if she's less than 20, she goes unbroken. If she's within less than 20, she'll go unbroken on them just to push as hard as she can in hopes. And I mean, I would do that too, because she's seen that, you know, Viola can be, you know, prone to a no rep here or there.
Yeah.
You know, you can say what you want about maybe her judging overseas, maybe not being great on that one. Who knows? It's too tough to tell from the camera angles we see. But either way, she's seen it side by side firsthand that if I push this girl, maybe I can push her into no reps and come back. So even if she's down like 40 wall balls when she comes in, I think she's
40.
She'll still throw it. She will not stop.
Are you counting on, you know, Viola having some no reps? Do you think she will? Because I have a feeling. How about this? How strict do you think the judging is going to be? Because that would make a significant difference.
I hope very strict. I hope, I
think it's going to be championship level judging, and you're not getting a 3/4 squat and having that count.
And especially in the wall balls, because I mean that's where the most visual spot's going to be. That's where most people are paying attention. You know, you might see, if you're going to see slacking and judging, you might see it on the burpee broad jumps or something like that. But yeah, on those wall balls, they should have like crackpot judges, because they don't want to have that last section be there. So, but that's it. I believe Viola will get that full depth. I mean, she, you know, it's been something that's weighing on her mind what happened when she was head to head with Miriam, and I don't think she'll let that happen again. So that's it. Miriam will push her hard, but I think Viola comes out on top.
Yeah, that's the same deal. I think that she's, like I've mentioned, she's going to get enough of a lead where she can screw up a couple times, and Miriam just won't be able to close enough on the wall balls. I just don't see Miriam being in contact too late in the race. Like her running just won't put her there, but she's going to close like a freight train at the end. My question for you, both top 2 women, Viola and Miriam, both have a sub 65 seat time. What do you think the winning time is going to be?
So both are sub 65, but both of them have not been over here to North America. So I think still we're probably going to be in that, you know, mid 66. I think they'll be dropped off. I don't think either of them will crack like a North American time by Lauren here.
Real okay, because I know Lauren, she's been like 63. Well, wasn't that in Europe?
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I just think again, same as the men. I don't think this course is going to end up being one that suits to records. I have heard that each one will have each one will have their own individual judge, and it's I don't think it's going to be as fast of a layout.
Yep.
All right.
So let's recap the top 5. I don't know if you want to go first, but I'll just name off mine.
Yep.
Fifth place, I'm going Alyssa Hawley. 4th place, Sarah Colte. 3rd place, Rebecca Nather. 2nd place, Miriam von Rohr, and 1st place, Viola Oberlander.
And I have in 5th, Christopher Glasky. In 4th, Sarah Colte. In 3rd, Tara Jackson. 2nd, Miriam von Rohr. And 1st, Viola Oberlander.
Yep. One other thing that I want to address, we've talked about Europeans coming over. This race, it's at like 6 or so p.m., right? That's going to feel like it's 3 a.m. for Europeans who are jet lagged. That's another thing that's a real effect. Not too many people are used to working out at 3 a.m. after being up all day and stuff and jet lagged.
Yeah, and that's why I think, just like the Americans struggled when they went over to overseas, I think the Europeans will be the same here. And it's not a knock against their fitness. It's not a knock that they are amazing athletes. It's just, as we said, travel, jet lag is all real. And that time zone thinking, you know, running at 3 a.m., that's a good point, and it's going to knock the hell out of people.
I think it will. Yeah, but I don't know, just something to consider. One last thing that I wanted to do was, if you just look at the list, who's your kind of wild card who might kind of surprise some people?
Wild card who might surprise some people. Well, honestly, I didn't, and I don't even want to call him a wild. Okay, wild card, he might surprise people. Michael Sandbach. Michael Sandbach can be really, really good, and we've also seen he can do something very, very strange.
Yeah.
So I mean, but he's run sub 60. He recently just beat David Magida, and that is not an easy task to do.
No.
So yeah, Michael Sandbach could sneak in there and do some damage, along with Tom Hogan. Tom Hogan is legit too. So for the men, what for the men you got?
Tom Hogan was my pick. Just he's basically as fast as Dylan and Rich running. I think he's about 40 years old or so, but representing the older racers, he's as consistent as he gets on the runs, and he's not phenomenal on most of the zones, but he doesn't have a weakness that's really going to set him apart. So I could see him getting around like 6-7.
Yeah, and he has spent some time over here training, so he's made the trip. So he knows what it's going to feel like. He knows what to expect. He did a little training camp with Hunter. Yeah, Tom Hogan could do damage. So those are the two for men. For me, on the women's side, I don't see as many someone who's going to jump out, except for maybe Alandra Greenlee.
Really? You think that the lack of jet lag might help her being in the U.S.?
Yeah, and the fact that we've only seen her perform once, and she put in an amazing performance to get again into the top 15, whereas a lot of these other people have it. So I mean, her second effort here, I mean, she's going to have learned things from her first attempt, so she could bump up quite a bit. Do I think she's going to win? No, or I would have put her in the top 5. But I do think she could have a great performance, and she definitely has the fitness to do it.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think Linda Meyer, also from Germany, she's got the 3rd best farmer's carry in the field, 2nd best wall balls. She's in the top half, or she's 4th if you take out the sleds for kind of equaling everything. I think that she has the potential to. I still think Alyssa's going to get 5th, but I could see Linda Meyer being right in contention for top 5.
And there's one more guy I wanted to ask you about. How do you think Martin Marsilius is going to do? Because he is a very strong guy.
Yeah. Oh, without question. He's definitely the along with Dominic. Martin is the slowest runner in the field, but he kind of reminds me of what Sarah Colty is on the women's side. Just a monster when it comes to the work. He doesn't have any glaring weaknesses there. And if this sled is giving people some problems, he might be one person to capitalize on that, even if he's not as strong of a runner.
Yeah, and I mean, we have seen that. I mean, recently we just saw Cole Schwartz, who we know is a great racer, struggle with like a 9.5-minute sled push.
Yeah.
So anything can happen on these. My biggest hope is that we have very consistent flooring, very consistent judging, and that is just a great straight shot race. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yep.
All right, Jack, any final thoughts?
It's going to be a fun battle. Realistically, I would have loved seeing Lauren kind of in peak form just to kind of mess up the top of the standings. But I think Viola is probably going to run around 65 and change for the women's win. And I could see Hunter and Kent probably 55 and change. I don't think they're going to break the world record, but I think it's going to be just a ridiculous back and forth battle the entire race.
Absolutely. And so make sure you tune in to ORM for coverage of the Hyrox World Championships in Las Vegas. It's going to be an amazing race. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Have a great day.
All right.
And now we need Matt to fix this.
Now we need to end it.
Matt.
We're just live.